Greetings and welcome to another edition of Caring About Seniors. I am your host, Adrienne Houghton. Now, each week we sit down with Oasis Senior Advisors Jacksonville and discuss all aspects of senior living. Today, representing Oasis is Becky Harkness, a senior living advisor. And joining us as guest is Dr. Bobby Mannel from the Memory Treatment Centers of Jacksonville. Welcome.
Hey, Adrienne. Thanks for having me.
Absolute delight. First of all, tell me a little bit about yourself and Memory Treatment Centers.
So we just opened at the end of last year here in Jacksonville. We have a sister site down by Fort Myers and Bonita Springs that opened last summer. But my partners and I, we each have a personal familial history of Alzheimer's. So we came from corporate. We were all employed neurologists, and we saw patients that were not being treated correctly, unfortunately, in the memory realm. And given our family history, we wanted to better serve these patients. And we came together as a group and we formed the idea of Memory Treatment Centers. Now, we are a full-scale neurology clinic, so we see everything, but we just have this special focus on memory.
So what exactly do you think is a typical patient communication with you? They come in and they come to see you, and what does it look like? I mean, there's going to be people out there that are thinking, I think I need to take mom or dad or sister, you know.
So we want it to be a stress-free experience. One of our partners, they say that they are patient-obsessed, and we completely agree with that. We want to provide compassionate care, but each individual is a unique treatment plan. And so we do a full-scale history, complete with a neurocognitive evaluation. Now, this is different than a typical neuropsychiatric exam. That's a 4-hour battery. We don't want to put patients through that. And with the examination, we tailor a plan towards that patient. We want to optimize treatment. We likely need some diagnostics done, so we'll order an MRI if needed, labs, and then we tailor the treatment plan towards the patient and the results that we find.
Do you have all those facilities within your center?
No, we do not. We refer out for MRIs and labs.
Because that's it can be, that's another stress, really, isn't it? You know, you go to one doctor and then you go to another doctor and then you go somebody else somewhere else. So it can be a little bit. I suppose when they come to you, they're already a little stressed, are they?
Yes, nobody wants to lose memory or have the thought of losing their memory. And so just coming, they're going to come with some stress. But again, we want to make it as easy as possible. We have a nice big fish tank right out front. So they walk in, they're calm, hopefully.
Yeah, and Adrienne, that's been huge I have a lot of clients that it is very beneficial to know what type of dementia do you have, because then you can have a better idea of their journey, and they're hesitant to go because it's a doctor's office, and their practice is actually, it's very comfortable. It's recliners and couches and, like you said, a fish tank. It's more home-like, I would say. So it reduces the stress for the patient, so they then can get a better reading.
Yeah, thanks.
I think most people think automatically if somebody's losing their memory, it's Alzheimer's. Bang. You know, that's the first thing that's said. But in fact, there are many different diseases, aren't there? It's not just Alzheimer's. It's not just dementia. How many do you see?
Yeah, we see it all. And you're right. There are several types. It's estimated that 1 out of 10 people over 55 will develop a dementia at some point in their life. Now, 60 to 80% are of the Alzheimer's type. But other ones are vascular, so if somebody's having strokes, there's one called frontotemporal dementia, Lewy body dementia, so there's several types. But you're right, it is key to find out which type of dementia they have, because again, we want to tailor and optimize their treatment plan.
Yes, because if somebody's got Lewy body, they're not going to need the same treatment as somebody with Alzheimer's.
Exactly.
Interesting. So is each Alzheimer patient treated with specialized new technology? I mean, I say this because is it just you sit and talk to them, or what can you do to change what they're going through? Or is it just to relieve some of the symptoms?
So there is going to be some overlap from person to person given the Alzheimer's disease. However, everybody's story is different, and we don't know what stresses they're going through, what their family and their caregivers are going through. So we try to fish that out as much as possible.
I mean, it's a tough one. I mean, have you seen an uptick in neurological disorders recently?
So that's a great question. I don't know if necessarily there's more of an uptick, but more of a personal want to know. So patients are becoming more proactive in their health, and therefore we are discovering things that maybe we wouldn't have seen if they did not want to get checked out. Also, though, people are living longer, so just on that basis alone, there will be more Alzheimer's patients.
Yeah, of course. Becky, have you noticed a difference?
Yes, and I do agree completely, especially with the new Alzheimer's drug that's out. The early detection is so key that I think that people are learning more of what they have and what's going on. They're more aware. And I also think it's not as stigmatized as it used to be. It's more, people want to know the information and treatment.
And we say treatment, but is it a management, or can any of this be reversed?
There's some controversy in that. A big portion is management, but she's right, early detection is key. With these new medications that came out, so Alzheimer's, there are two main proteins. One is called amyloid and one's called tau. And the class of medications that just came out last June are anti-amyloid monoclonals. Now, monoclonal is a hot topic because we hear about monoclonals with COVID, but they've been around for a long time. Now, these medications, this class, the anti-amyloid class, they bind to amyloid proteins in the brain and they recycle them. So this has been proven for several years. Now, this medication that came out last year, aducanumab, it was the first one that showed clinical benefit. So what we mean by that is a person who received the medication versus a person who did not, they declined slower. So it did not completely halt it. It's not a cure, but it preserves cognitive and function and you're able to perform your activities of daily living. And it also it slowed down the need to go to an assisted living facility. So these medications are clearly groundbreaking. It was the first one. There are probably two more that are coming out this year. But in the future, in the next couple of years, there are going to be anti-tau medications as well. So it's going to be a multi-pronged attack. We're going to likely give some patients anti-tau medications, some patient anti-amyloid, but some patients will receive both. It's just going to depend on the patient and what we call biomarkers. What do they have on their evaluation? And so we're on the precipice. This is groundbreaking.
It's just exactly. So you say that it's really important to be diagnosed as soon as possible. What are some things that people should be looking out for? Because obviously there could be a couple that are living together and they're quite happy in their own environment and they know each other's quirks, as it were. But then what should you be looking for to say, maybe this should be looked into a little further?
Well, it's hard to say too. Some people will come in, we've had people that are completely normal, but their mom had Alzheimer's and they just want to get checked out because there are some genetic components of Alzheimer's. Now, if in your example, if the person is having trouble communicating, just forgetting where the grocery list is, little things. Again, little things. It's better to come in, find out if something is going on, or is this just the normal aging process, or was I just stressed that day? A lot of things can do it, so I can't say the one thing for one person is going to.
Right. No, it's like, if you're always losing the keys,
Right.
or if those keys are in the refrigerator, perhaps,
Oh, they should come in.
Yeah, well, perhaps not. I mean, I remember putting my keys in the refrigerator, but I think it just went in with the butter. I have no idea. So, are there any tips that you can give us for retaining our memory or keeping alert, perhaps I should say?
Yeah, so it's just the healthy lifestyle that we hear about. There is a diet that's been shown to slow cognitive decline. It's called the MIND diet. MIND. It's a mixture of the DASH diet, which is antihypertensive, and the Mediterranean diet. So a healthy diet in moderation, meaning not overeating, which is hard to do. I understand.
If it's delicious, yes.
Moderation of alcohol consumption. There's so in the Mediterranean diet, there's red wine, so no gin, no beer.
He knows me, the gin. I mean,
No smoking. There are also some vitamin supplementations that we do recommend: B12, folate, vitamin D. Everybody's vitamin D level is low. Everybody.
Why?
So we're creatures of inside now. We're not outside. That's the big thing. We also recommend curcumin, which is a form of turmeric. And some people, probiotics is beneficial. Not everybody. So there are several things. Also, moderate exercise. Again, we're indoor people now, and it gets hot in Florida. But we do recommend what we call moderate. So it's about 30 minutes a day, 3 times a week.
Is that, I mean, when you say exercise, we're talking about seniors here, is it to get your heart rate up to a certain level? Say, 120 for half an hour? Or is that too much?
It's not so much getting it to a certain level, it's just being active, even taking walks around the block. So that's fine.
Right. Yeah, just. And Becky, do you find that when you're placing people, that if you've got somebody that's active, you've got to find a specific accommodation for them?
Absolutely, especially within memory care. There's different types of memory care situations. Some are pacers, some like to have small, quiet areas. Every memory care has its own personality and its own, and so we, as Dr. Mannel was saying, we really have to get behind to see what is their need, what makes them happy, what makes them thrive, what stresses them, because you want to remove stress.
Yeah. And I mean, just because they've been diagnosed with a neurological disorder doesn't mean to say that they're not going to want to be active, does it?
Oh, no.
Absolutely.
We encourage activity.
Yeah, that's great. So, I mean, one of the things that I want to ask is, as a doctor, what is the most challenging neurological disorder that you have to deal with?
I would say Alzheimer's is up there, and it was especially up until June of last year because we didn't have a treatment. If we would feel bad looking into the family and into the patient's eyes and saying, we can take this Band-Aid pill, but it's not going to slow the decline. So, but again, now we have the opportunity to put a halt to it.
It's quite incredible, really, to think that for years and years and years nothing has happened, and all of a sudden there's a breakthrough, and a big breakthrough, as you said. You're on the precipice here, and so what would you like people to know about looking after themselves, or what are the tips?
So, I would go back to what Becky was saying. Early detection is critical, and because these medications, like we said, we don't think that they reverse cognitive decline, at least not at this time, maybe in the future. But what they do is they slow the decline. So we want to slow the decline at the beginning rather than at the end. And also, if a person is in the severe range of Alzheimer's, they might not even be a candidate for these medications. So again, early detection is key.
Yeah, and it's just knowing what to look for, really. And so keep an eye on those loved ones, huh? Well, thank you so much for coming in. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. If people want to know more information about memory treatment centers, how do they find out?
We have a website, memorytreatmentcenters.com.
Easy to remember.
Very easy. Easy to remember. Or just Google it. And we're right over there in the Marsh Landing Business Park area, right on the other side of the Intercoastal. So it's easy to find nice restaurants for lunch while you're over there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Dr. Mannel, thank you very much for coming in and talking to us about it.
Thank you for having me.
And don't forget, if there's any more information that you'd like to know about memory treatment centers, you can always find it at iwannabuzz.com.